She had nothing left, not even hope. But when a hungry boy knocked on her door, she gave him her last piece of bread. What happened next shook the entire nation. Before we begin, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more stories that touch your heart and twist your mind. And tell me, from which country are you watching my video? I can see where my video is being watched. The wind was biting cold that morning. Clouds hung low like they didn't want to move. In a small, cracked house at the edge of Graywood City, Maria sat in silence. Her lips were pale, her hands trembling slightly from hunger, but she tried to hide it from her son Ethan, who sat on the floor drawing on old newspapers. The house had no heater, no working lights in the hallway, and barely any food. Life hadn't been kind to Maria. Her husband James died 2 years ago in a factory accident. Since then, it had been a slow war between survival and pride. She had worked every job she could, washing clothes, cleaning buildings, even picking metal scraps from junkyards. But this winter was cruel. Jobs had dried up, prices had gone high, and Maria had nothing left to sell except the bed she slept on. There was only one slice of bread left in the house, a dry, half-burned piece Maria had saved for Ethan's breakfast. But even Ethan had stopped asking for food. Just as she was about to warm some water to drink, there was a knock at the door. A soft, timid knock. Maria hesitated. Strangers didn't visit her neighborhood. People were either too poor or too scared. Still, she opened the door. Standing outside was a boy, about 10, maybe 11. His clothes were too thin for the cold. His face was red, his nose running, and he looked like he hadn't eaten in days. "Ma'am," he said in a soft voice, "I haven't eaten. Please? Do you have a little bread?" Maria's heart twisted. She looked back inside, at her only piece of bread, the last one. She could pretend she didn't hear him. She could shut the door. No one would blame her, but she didn't. "Come in," she said softly. She gave him the slice of bread, heated some water, watched him eat like he hadn't seen food in a week. When he finished, he said thank you and quietly left. Maria didn't cry. Not then. She simply sat down on the floor beside Ethan and stared at the empty plate. An hour passed, then another. She expected silence. Instead, she heard sirens, dozens of them. Ethan ran to the window and shouted, "Mom, look!" She stood and looked. Out too. A convoy of black cars, police vans, and motorcycles was coming down their broken little street. Neighbors came outside shocked and confused. Who were they here for? The cars stopped in front of her house. Before Maria could think, armed, officers stepped out, but they weren't threatening. One of them walked up to her door and said, "Ma'am, are you Maria Clark?" She nodded, her voice lost in her throat. "Please step outside," the officer said with a warm smile. "Someone would like to meet you." And then, as the door of the largest black car opened, the crowd gasped. It was President Alan Whitmore. Yes, the president of the country. He stepped out, wearing a long black coat. Cameras followed him. News vans were pulling up behind the convoy. People shouted, screamed, took videos. But Maria was frozen. The president walked straight to her, took off his gloves, and held out his hand. "Maria Clark," he said, "you have reminded me today what real leadership looks like." She stared at him, stunned. "Sir, I don't understand." The president smiled. "The boy you fed this morning, his name is Liam. He's my nephew." Maria's breath caught. "He ran away from home yesterday. We've been searching for him all night. No one opened their doors, except you. When my team found him, he had just one thing in his pocket, half of the bread you gave him, and a piece of paper with your name on it." The world spun around. "Maria." I didn't know," she whispered. "You didn't need to know," said the president. "You gave everything you had to a stranger. That's more than kindness. That's heroism." He turned to the cameras. "People of this nation, today I introduce you to a woman whose heart is greater than any title, Maria Clark. A mother, a fighter, and now an inspiration. Cameras flashed. News anchors spoke in rushed excitement. Maria's face appeared live on every major channel. But for her, the moment was too big to understand. The president didn't stop there. He told his assistant something, then turned back to Maria. "From today, your house is paid for. Your son's education is fully covered, and if you'd be willing, I'd like to offer you a position in my National Human Welfare program. You'll help us reach more families like yours." The ground felt like it was moving. Maria shook her head, speechless. Why are you doing this?" The president's eyes softened. "Because you reminded me what this country should be built on. Not greed, not power, but compassion." The entire street erupted in cheers. By nightfall, the president had left, but the news didn't. Journalists camped outside. Donations flooded in. Her neighbors, who had once avoided her, now came to congratulate her. Some hugged her, others cried. The next morning, a new heater arrived, then clothes, food. A school representative came to take Ethan's measurements for a school uniform. Maria, who once had nothing, now had more than she could have imagined. But through all of it, she remained calm, humble. The only thing she said, when the cameras returned to ask for a statement, was this: "I didn't do it for reward. I just saw a hungry child." That one line was printed in every newspaper the next day. Weeks passed. Maria started her new job, helping underprivileged families. Her story spread beyond the country. Other nations invited her to speak. Charities named programs after her. Ethan went to a new school where he made friends, ate well, and no longer had to draw on newspapers. As for Liam, the president's nephew, he returned to visit her several times. Each time he brought flowers, books, and warm hugs. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the rooftops, Ethan asked her, "Mom, if you could go back, would you still give that bread away?" Maria smiled. "I would," she said, "because giving gave us everything." And with that, the world turned a little softer, a little kinder, because one struggling mother gave away her last piece of bread.